Has space, a teammate up front, Bunbury ties it!
Today on the Weekly Watch, we have a lot to talk about. It was a crazy week in college lacrosse. There were upsets, crazy goals, so much happened that I almost didn't want to include Albany's 18-5 win over Drexel, and they scored 9 goals in the first quarter. Are they the number one team right now? Have they played anyone that good yet? They're playing Maryland in a couple weeks. I feel like that's going to be the big test for them. Before we get into the college lacrosse madness, we got to address 2 things. 1, where's Colin? And 2, yes, last week, you guys voted in a poll to decide whether or not I was going to get a Rabel cut. 84% of you guys said, yes, I'm getting a Rabel cut. So, hold on 1 second. Okay, I think that should do it. That's how you do it, right, Paul? Okay, so those lines are way smaller than the ones that I have, but this feels right. Let's go find Colin. All right, you ready to see the cut? This was your doing. Colin put the poll in the corner and you guys voted, and now I have this cut, and now I have the cut. I got Colin. Let's get on with the episode. So Colin is gonna be in this episode, but here's the thing. He just got his tonsils out.
I can't really speak.
He literally can't talk right now.
It hurts to speak.
Yeah, so stop. He did stop. He's not gonna talk, but he will react to the things that we talk about because it is just a crazy week in college lacrosse, and actually a crazy week in the Weekly Watch. I have this haircut. Colin can't speak. So let's start at the top. Both number 1 teams in men's and women's lacrosse lost this week.
Ball's down as Penn beats Duke.
The Quakers beat number 1 in the country.
Finds McCool open, and Carolina has taken it over the number 1
Number
team.
1 goes down, 10-9 Penn.
Let's start with Duke versus Penn. It was a tight game the entire time, but Duke was up for most of it. In the last 4 minutes, Penn scored twice within 10 seconds to take the lead and eventually win the game.
Dumps it off. McGee, the go-ahead 10-9 Quakers with the lead over Duke. 3 minutes to go in regular.
Yeah, no, I thought so too. Basically, what Colin is saying is one of the coolest parts was to see the celebration from Penn. One of the injured players just ditched his scooter, broken leg, hopped to join in the celebration. You're kind of like an injured player right now, right? Like when you're injured, but then you still have to come to practice and the games, but you can't really play. Anyway, that was one of the coolest things to see, was how much excitement there was from the Penn sideline.
And takes care of business against Duke, knocking them from the ranks of the unbeaten.
One of the coolest clips I saw this week was a part of the TLN Top 5. Did you see that goalie just swat away the ball? Just, nope, get out of here. Just swatted it away, stared him right in the eyes. Boom. If you didn't see that clip, and if you didn't watch the Top 5 this week, you are missing out. Check out the TLN Top 5 hosted by RJ, and if you have clips that you want him to see, DM them to TLN Nation. On the women's side, UNC and Maryland played each other this past weekend, and UNC upset the number 1 Terps.
Carolina has fought their way back against Brigg. Finds Hazar, and we're tied up.
UNC and Maryland have accounted for every national title since 2013, which is pretty crazy. So it feels like one of them still might win this year, but crazy to see UNC knock off the top dogs. I'm kind of getting used to this cut. Right? What if Colin got a matching one? Should we put a poll in the corner to see if Colin gets a matching one? But what if we had matching Rabel cuts? No? Are you sure? What other cut could Colin get? That would get. No, what other cut could Colin get? That would be awesome if we both had crazy cuts. So the Syracuse Army game every year has kind of shaped up to be one of my favorite matchups. And this year was no different. This game went into triple overtime, but one of my favorite moments was Brendan Bomberry's between the legs goal to tie it up at 9.
Has space, a teammate up front, Bunbury ties it!
That had to to be one of the coolest goals of the weekend. So after Bomberry scored, Solomon scored to take the lead for Cuse.
Solomon the fake, and Syracuse takes the lead!
And then Army scored to tie it up.
Top right shelf, and ties it back up!
And it went into overtime. These 3 overtimes were insane. There were so many moments where I thought the game was over.
Beats one defender, shoots again, deflected by the defense! Has Tremboli, shoots, deflected!
And then it just kept going.
Someone's open.
Up top, but saved again! Trying to be patient.
But finally, Cuse took the win off this clear to a game-winning goal.
A shot, it's good! Syracuse comes back from down 5!
So we have a question from Colin. He says, does this say more about Cuse or about Army? I don't know, I just want to keep seeing triple overtime games. They're just so fun to watch. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. Let's cut that. The next game that we have to talk about is UNC versus Hopkins. This was another tight game, and UNC took it 13-11. Attackman Timmy Kelly made a huge statement, scoring 3 goals in a row for the Tar Heels.
Kelly! Rope! 3 straight.
I did see, yes. Okay, Colin just said, did you see Rabel and Holman make a bet on this game? I did see that. Rabel ended up having to run.
That's a bet.
It was like,
I owe you a 300.
I don't know what he had to do, but he had to run, and it was on Twitter. I really want to see more pros make bets on these games. Like, maybe we'll make a bet on a game this weekend, and if Colin loses, he has to dye his hair green. Green? What do you mean? What do you guys think? What color should Colin dye his hair, and what game should we bet on this weekend? One more thing about this UNC Hopkins game. Chris Cloutier, one-handed goal. That was sick. Is UNC like the real deal this year? Are they back?
Get past to Cloutier, it's over!
Are they back? What do you guys think? Colin can't give his opinion, so maybe you guys can. What do you guys think? Is UNC back?
Tar Heels who come to Baltimore and improve to 4-0.
Okay, so more upsets from the weekend. Robert Morris beat number 15 Penn State. I don't think we've ever talked about Robert Morris on this show, have we? I don't know. I don't think so. So shout out to those guys for taking down a ranked opponent. It's always nice to talk about new programs on the show. And in D3 land, Salisbury, the number 1 team, went down to Gettysburg.
Gettysburg upset Salisbury.
Shout out to the Gettysburg Bullets for taking down Salisbury, who's been just an absolute powerhouse over the last couple years. So one almost upset that went down this weekend, Jacksonville almost beat Ohio State. Almost. That would have been crazy.
Buckeyes trying to get on their feet. LeClaire right there with the goal.
But Trey LeClaire made sure that that didn't happen.
Long pass, Logan Masani to Trey LeClaire with 1.8 seconds.
He's like incredibly clutch.
Trey LeClaire.
And I know we didn't talk about him on our top 5 attackman show, but we're talking about him now. He's probably in the top 5 for sure. All right, 2 more things from the weekend. 1, Virginia took down Princeton 18-15. Shout out to the Who's. They're kind of crushing it right now. No, come on, they are.
Everything going Virginia's direction here in the
Who's
fourth.
are crushing it right now. Go Virginia. And 2, we gotta shout out Trevor Baptiste for going 22 of 22 on faceoffs. That's like 100%.
It is 100%.
Yep, that you're right. It is 100%. So Trevor, that's unbelievable. Shout out to you, man. Mr. 100. Is that what we should call him? Mr. 100. So that's it this week for the Weekly Watch. And what a crazy week in the Weekly Watch it was. I have this on the side of my head. There was a lot of crazy games. Colin got his tonsils out. It's just a crazy time. So let us know what you thought was the craziest game of the weekend. If we missed anything, I know we missed the Notre Dame-Richmond game. There were some crazy goals in that.
Saved by Goodman. Costaville got it back. Oh, he tried to do it behind his back. Irish still with possession.
So let us know what you thought was the craziest game from this past weekend, what games we should be looking forward to next weekend, and what color Colin should dye his hair in our bet. Make sure to check out the TLN Top 5 with RJ and send him any clips that you want him to see. Like this video, subscribe to TLN, comment below, and we will see you next week. Peace!